So good afternoon. My name is Alvin. I lead the Insights team across APAC for LinkedIn. So it's a really exciting time to be leading the Insights team right now. Right? When we think about Insights, as with other analytics teams, we are driven by two things. One is we want to work on interesting problems. And number two, we want to solve these interesting problems by working with an amazing data set. And we are very lucky to have both at LinkedIn. This is what drives us in our mission every single day, to help companies and governments to use our data and insights to make better decisions. Now, I've been with LinkedIn for almost 7 years. In these 7 years, I've observed how the type of insights requests from companies have transformed tremendously over the years. In the past, it used to be very tactical. So questions are like, how do I increase my follower base? How do I increase the number of job applicants? They're still important questions, but they're more tactical. Fast forward to today, the type of questions are far more strategic in nature. Questions like, what are the emerging jobs and skills in the market? What are my competitors doing? What is the demand and supply like for software engineers? So our team loves these kind of questions because these are also the interesting problems we want to work on. But this type of questions are also coming in faster and faster. Just in the last 1 year alone, we've recorded over 10,000 different types of this kind of requests that have come from companies globally. That's why since 2 years ago, we've been trying to find a solution that can answer all these burning questions at scale. And today, with LinkedIn Talent Insights, you can have billions of data points at your fingertips. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to do a live demo to show you how we can use Talent Insights to solve a very real business case. Now, one of the realest, business problems we have today is that companies can't find the talent that they want. So in the latest PwC annual CEO survey, 80% of CEOs say that they are unable to find the talent they want, that they worry about the availability of talent. And this percentage has been the highest it's ever been since the start of the decade. So this demo is going to be about helping an Asian company to build a team of data scientists in the region. And I see a few nods and smiles in the room because data scientist is literally one of the hardest to fill roles today in Asia. So what you see on the screen here is LinkedIn Talent Insights. This is the page where you can create a talent pool report based on titles or skills. Right, so in this case, let's type in data scientist. Just hold on. And you see that the system is smart enough to suggest other keywords and titles for you. So let's key in data science manager as well. And for locations, you can type in a city or a country. So in this case, because it's a company I've worked with before, so I'm just going to type in some of the countries they're in. And they're also in India and Australia. Now, very quickly, let's generate the report. Now, in just 1 second, we have filtered through more than 500 million member profiles on the platform, down to 11,500 professionals that meet this criteria. We see this green arrow here, that this talent pool is growing at a fast rate of 29% year on year as well. Now, as we scroll through the page, you'll see a lot more critical information, such as how many of them have changed jobs over the last 1 year, who are the top employers of this talent pool, and which schools are the top producers of this talent. We also see on the top right that hiring demand is very high, which means they're very hard to hire. No surprises there. Now, one number that really caught my attention is actually this number on the bottom right, where the median tenure of this talent pool is only 1.1 years. This is definitely shorter than most other occupations that we know. So if we know this, we need to ask ourselves some critical questions. For example, do we have a strong enough pipeline? Because we may have to backfill these positions more frequently. How do we look at onboarding, training, and ramp-up processes? Because we need these people to make an impact in the first year as soon as possible. Or if we're still doing annual performance reviews, do we do quarterly reviews or OKRs? Sometimes, or many a times actually, such data and insights may not answer a question directly, but it can guide us to ask the right questions for the right strategies. Now, coming back to the problem statement, So where can we find this talent to build a data science team? This is where the locations page could be useful. In this page, for each location we've selected, you can see information such as the number of data scientists, the number of data science jobs, and how is the hiring demand like relative to the other locations we've selected. So the number one city over here is Bangalore, which has the highest supply of data science, 2,800 of them. I'm very proud to say that Singapore is the second on the list, right, with 983. In fact, this is even higher than Sydney, although the overall population is about the same. And this is a huge, huge testament to all the Smart Nation initiatives that have happened in the past few years that have really shored up the digital talent we have in the country. What we also realize is that hiring demand is very high for Bangalore, Singapore, and Sydney, which means even with a larger supply, it is even harder to hire talent in these places. So if we do want to do so, we probably have to deepen the war chest to win this war for talent. Now, on the other hand, there are locations such as New Delhi and Indonesia where hiring demand is relatively more moderate. But supply is low as well, which means you probably can't hire your entire data science team in those locations alone. So what do? This still gives us viable options for hiring strategies, one of which could be to embrace a remote hiring strategy. And this is becoming more popular today for very hard-to-hire digital talents. So we could possibly make some remote hires of data scientists in these locations to supplement the bigger data science team that is elsewhere. Or another way to think about it is we could also source candidates from these locations and possibly look at relocating them elsewhere. But we need more information to make these decisions. This is why we have the talent flows information at the bottom. Right? The default location here is Bangalore. So the dark blue bars here shows how much talent Bangalore has lost to other cities, and the light blue bars shows how much they're gaining from other cities. Now, if you look quickly down the chart, you realize that Bangalore is actually winning talent more than it's losing to most of the other major India cities, including New Delhi, where it's gaining 4 times as much as it's losing data science talent to New Delhi. So if we know this, and we know there is more moderate demand in New Delhi, perhaps it's more viable now to think that we can actually source for candidates there and bring them over to Bangalore. We looked at where to find this talent. Equally important is how do we attract them, right? What do they care about? The employer brand page here can give us some answers. Could be something with the internet, so let it load for a while. Cool. Now, at the bottom of the page, it actually shows what employer value propositions are most important for this talent. In this case, data scientists in some of the Asian countries. This is based on results from a semi-annual survey that we do with our members. So it's actual data scientists who actually give us these answers. The number one most important thing they've said is work-life balance. 71% of them agree that this is most important to them. Number 2, comp and ben, and number 3, challenging work. Many companies have come to me to feedback that, hey, it's really hard to hire the best data scientists out there who are specialized in certain areas. So I wanted to take a look at, say, data scientists who are more specialized. And what we can do is we can quickly just add in a few skills here. For example, natural language processing and computer vision, which is used in driverless cars and image recognition. Now, once we apply this and we go back to the same chart, you realize that these specialized data scientists, they care about work-life balance even more, that the percentage increased from 71% to 83%. And not only that, you realize that challenging work has actually gone up the ranks, where they are rating the ability to do interesting and challenging work as important as a salary. So if we know this, we again need to ask ourselves questions such as, are we offering this to data scientists today? And if we are we branding ourselves? Are we highlighting this in our employer branding messages to them? Doing so will help us to target these people more effectively and also reduce attrition, because we saw from the first page that the median tenures are actually pretty low. Now, what we saw on the first page was another point, which is that this talent pool is very hard to hire. So even with a very strong employer brand and the right location-based strategies, you still may not be able to fill all your data science roles. So what can we do about it? Now, many companies, especially the bigger ones, are starting to embark on what we call the skills-based hiring strategies, where we start to look for people who may have a combination of core essential data science skills, but they are not yet qualified data scientists. And we can hire them in, put them through an onboarding and training process to train them up to be junior data scientists. This gives you a good pipeline to build a good data science team in the future. Now, if we follow this route, what do we need to do? What kind of skills do we need to look out for? And how do we identify these people? So let me reset some of these specialized skills, and let's go to the Skills tab. Now, at the Skills tab, this gives you the most common skills among the data scientists in this region. Skills like data science, Python, machine learning, and SQL. Today, we know there's 11,000 data scientists in this region. Now, how many members do you think there are that have some of these core essential skills but are not data scientists today? So this is where the filtering is pretty flexible, and we can key in some of these skills. For example, data science, and maybe SQL. Let's add 2 more. Python, and machine learning. The next thing we want to do is we want to exclude people with these titles. So we don't want to look at people with these titles. We want to exclude people with data scientist titles. So what we can do is just exclude them. And we click apply. Now this number, you look at the top, you realize that there are 10,600 people with a combination of these 4 essential data science skills, but they may not be qualified data scientists today. This number is almost similar to the number of data scientists that we saw, which means that if we are willing to go down this route, we actually effectively double the talent pool we're looking at. And in today's world, this is important, especially for niche talent pool where the numbers are small. But what are they doing today? What kind of occupations are they in? This is where the Titles tab can give us some information. And you'll see that the top 2 occupations they're in are software engineers and data analysts. And I, personally, have known a few software engineers who have made the transition into data science, and definitely know a lot more data analysts who are very talented and aspire to be the next data scientist. So let us go back to the slides to kind of summarize what we've just gone through. In just a few clicks, we found out that data scientists are characterized by very high demand and low median tenure. We know that Bangalore, Singapore, and Sydney have some of the highest supply of data science talent, but it's even harder to hire in these locations. So again, if we do so, we need a deeper war chest. We need higher budgets to hire them. And we know there are locations like Indonesia and New Delhi, which have more moderate demand. So what we can do is consider alternative hiring solutions, such as remote hiring or sourcing candidates from these locations, and possibly even relocating them, like in the case of New Delhi and Bangalore. We also know what they care about, which is work-life balance. And the more specialized these data scientists are, the more they care about work-life balance, and the more they care about the work that they do, whether it's challenging enough. And finally, we know that the talent pool actually doubles if you look at upskilling people who have some of these essential data science skills, but are not yet data scientists today. And many of them are software engineers and data analysts. We know all these things in just a few clicks: where to find them, alternative hiring solutions, what they care about, and a way to pipeline future people into future data scientists. This is critical, especially in the new era where demand seems to always outstrip supply for new digital technologies. What I've gone through this whole process of using data to turn them into insights and action, this is not new. In fact, this process has been put into practice by many of our customers, early customers of Talent Insights. And this example is Microsoft. So Microsoft moved dozens of open requisitions for cybersecurity from one market to another. They were convinced by the data and Talent Insights that Washington, D.C. is actually the best place to hire cybersecurity talent for 2 main reasons. Number 1, when they looked at cybersecurity talent in the US, Washington, D.C. was actually the city with the highest supply of them. In fact, the number is 55,000, and this is more than double the second city in US, which is New York with 24,000. But supply is just part of the puzzle. The second reason is when they looked at the list of top employers of this cybersecurity talent in Washington, D.C., they realized, to their surprise, that these are not the usual big tech giants that they usually compete against. These are not the big tech giants that have very strong employer brands. So in fact, when they looked at this list, they were very confident that they could compete head-on with these companies for the talent. And because of these two reasons, they moved millions of dollars of open requisitions to Washington, D.C. Now, companies are facing a lot of external pressures today, right? Whether it's the competitive landscape or whether it's it's harder to hire talent. All these external pressures means that knowing the talent landscape is not enough. We need to understand our own workforce better, and we need to understand what our competitors are doing as well. This is why there is a second module in Talent Insights called the Company Report, which helps us to answer questions such as where is this company winning and losing talent? What skills does this company have, and where are they expanding into? So what I'm going to do is to share 3 examples or use cases of how I've seen our early customers use these reports for success. The first one is to assess how well you're competing for talent. So in this page, which is the talent flows page, it shows how much talent a company is winning from other companies and how much they're losing to other companies. This company you're looking at, I had to blind out the names, is a fintech company. And there must be something they're doing right where they're winning talent from really many of the major tech companies you're seeing, which has huge brands. This is probably a recruiter's dream, by the way. If you work here, probably everyone wants to talk to you. Now, I have presented this chart to several companies, and it's no surprise that some of them are actually shocked by the results that they see, because they may not know that they have been losing significant amount of talent to 1 or 2 particular companies. And I'm not surprised that they're surprised, because how many companies continue to track such data after the employees leave the company? Now, if you think that this is powerful, imagine this. You now not only have the ability to look at this for your own company, you can look at this for all your major competitors as well. So with LinkedIn Talent Insights, you now have the ability to understand how your competitors are competing for talent, how well they're doing it, and you can have a better gauge of how strong your employer brand is relative to them. The second use case is to understand the skills profile of your own workforce and compare it to your competitors. So what you're seeing here are the top 10 fastest growing skills of a company. You'll see skills like Python, CSS, JavaScript, Java, all these are tech skills. Now make a guess what type of company this is. You don't have to shout it out, just guess in your heart. You may be surprised, this is not a tech firm. This is a retail firm, a traditional retail firm with many retail stores. And it's very obvious that this company is aggressively going digital by building digital skills. Now take a look at this next company. Again, the top 10 fastest growing skills. And this company is the #1 top competitor of the previous firm. Look at how different the skill sets are. Very few digital skills, and if there are, they are basically digital marketing skills and not digital software skills. So here you have 2 companies who are selling the same category of products, operating in very similar markets, but both of them have very different strategic directions in how they want to grow their business and their competencies. What's so fascinating about this example is that basically just by analyzing the workforce and the skills profile of their workforce, you can understand the strategic directions of these companies and how they differ. It shouldn't be a surprise that we can do so, though, because for every strategy, you need people to execute them. And if you know who these people are and what kind of skills they have, you should be able to intelligently infer what they're up to. And this brings me to my third point. Talent Insights can allow you to understand what your competitors are doing. What's the next move? This is by far my favorite page on the product itself. So the locations page here gives you an overview of the global footprint of a company. So here, it shows you where they have operations, how many people they have in each location, where they're fast expanding into, and how fast are they growing in these places. This company you're looking at is a payments company. And just by looking at the global map, where the bigger circles are in the middle, I think it's no surprise that they're probably HQ'd somewhere in Europe or UK. But they are also growing their global presence around the world. So what really caught my attention is that Singapore is the second fastest growing location for this company. Now today, if you're a bank or a fintech company, one of the first few questions might be, what are they doing in Singapore? Who are they hiring? How fast are they growing? Are they just opening a sales office in Singapore, or are they growing full engineering capabilities to customize products for this region? The great thing about this is that we can actually filter down to just the Singapore workforce of this company. And look at here. Most of the titles that these people hold, they're either in customer service or engineering. So the answer is yes, this company is aggressively investing in this region. The reason why they have engineers is probably to customize products and services to roll out across this whole region as well. Now, if you know this, what is your counter strategy? What are you going to do about it? How are you going to protect and defend your market presence? And if you can have these insights, not just for one company, but for all your major competitors, how is this going to change the way you do your strategy exercises? How is this going to change the way you keep tab and pulse of your competitors? By now, you would have realized that talent insights really sits at the intersection of talent intelligence and business strategy. And this should be no surprise because it follows the evolution of talent analytics. In the past, talent analytics used to be about using data for talent decisions. Today, it's really about using talent data for business decisions. But what has been holding back HR organizations is that a lot of the data that we have are actually internal data. For example, attrition data or how satisfied and engaged my employees are. But they lack the external data to understand what's happening outside of the company or what their competitors are doing. But today, with LinkedIn Talent Insights, you can have all this data. LinkedIn has over 500 million member profiles on the platform, making millions of interactions every day. We've recorded over 50,000 different types of skills and millions of companies out there that our members work for. Every connection, every update, every time someone adds a skill to the profile, and every time someone makes a job move, all these are real-time information on the global workforce. And today, that same data is aggregated into key insights and made available to you in the form of a new business intelligence tool. And with this tool, you can have real-time insights into almost every occupation and every skill in the world. And you have competitive information on millions of companies out there. Think about how this can entirely transform your talent and business strategy. I have never been so excited in my 7 years at LinkedIn, and it's a huge, huge privilege to be able to see this product launch and to be able to share this with you on stage. This is LinkedIn Talent Insights. Thank you.